The night he was thrown out of the house, the old man stood silently at the gate with a small bag in his trembling hands. He did not argue. He did not cry. He simply looked at his son one last time, hoping to see even a trace of the boy he once raised with love. But the son avoided his eyes. His wife stood behind him, arms crossed, her face hard with satisfaction. The door closed, and with it, a lifetime of memories. The father walked slowly through the cold streets, each step heavy with pain that went far beyond his aching bones. He remembered carrying this same son on his shoulders, teaching him to ride a bicycle, praying over him at night when he was sick. Now he was unwanted, discarded like a burden. He found shelter near an old church, sitting on the stone steps as the wind cut through his thin coat. He whispered a prayer, not for himself, but for his son, asking God to soften his heart. Back in the warm house, the son tried to ignore the unease growing inside him. His wife praised him for finally choosing his own family, reminding him that his father was old-fashioned, embarrassing, and a financial burden. Yet when the house grew quiet, guilt crept in. He poured himself a drink, but it did nothing to drown the image of his father's bent back as he walked away. Still, pride kept him from admitting his mistake. That night, he dreamed. He saw himself walking down a dusty road under a burning sun. His feet were bare, and every step hurt. Ahead of him stood a man in simple robes, his face calm yet filled with authority and compassion. The man looked at him with eyes that seemed to see every secret of his heart. The son felt exposed, unable to speak. The man said softly, "Why did you cast out the one who gave you life?" His voice was gentle, but it carried a weight that made the son fall to his knees. He tried to explain, blaming his wife, his circumstances, his stress. The man listened patiently, then replied, "You honored comfort over love, pride over mercy. Whatever you do to the least of these, you do to me." At that moment, the son realized who stood before him. It was Jesus. Jesus knelt and picked up a wooden bowl from the ground. It was cracked and worn. "This was your father's heart," he said. "Used, scarred, yet still full of love for you." Then Jesus turned the bowl upside down, and it shattered. The sound echoed like thunder. "A heart can break," he continued, "but repentance can make it new." The son woke up gasping for breath, his heart pounding, tears streaming down his face. He sat up in bed, shaken. His wife stirred and asked what was wrong, but he couldn't speak. The dream felt more real than anything he had ever experienced. He got dressed quietly and left the house before dawn. He didn't know where his father was, but he knew he had to find him. Every step felt urgent, as if time itself was running out. At the church steps, he found his father asleep, curled up against the cold stone. His hair was damp with dew, his hands rough and swollen. The sight crushed the son's heart. He knelt beside him and gently touched his shoulder. The old man opened his eyes, startled, then confused. When he saw his son, he tried to sit up, apologizing for being a trouble even now. The son broke down. He held his father tightly, sobbing like a child. He begged for forgiveness, confessing his cruelty and weakness. The father, shocked, slowly wrapped his arms around his son. "I already forgave you," he whispered. "I never stopped loving you." At that moment, the rising sun bathed them in warm light, and for a brief second, the son felt the same peace he had felt in the dream. As they stood to leave, the church doors opened, and a priest stepped out, smiling kindly. He said nothing, but his presence felt like quiet approval. The son took his father home, but this time, everything was different. When his wife protested, he stood firm. He told her that respect and compassion were not negotiable, that love was not something to be sacrificed for comfort. She saw a strength in him she had never seen before. Life did not become perfect overnight. There were arguments, adjustments, and moments of tension. But the father was no longer treated as a burden. He became a source of wisdom, prayer, and quiet joy in the home. The son changed too. He became gentler, more patient, more aware of the impact of his choices. Late one evening, as the son helped his father to bed, the old man smiled and said, "God teaches us in many ways." The son nodded, remembering the eyes of Jesus in his dream. He knew that lesson would never leave him. He had learned that honoring those who gave his life is not just a duty, but a blessing, and that no comfort is worth losing one's soul.